I'd like to dig in, just kind of get your thoughts on, why deal registration is so important when it comes to building trust and loyalty in your partner ecosystem. And as you kind of go through that, Ken, and share with the audience, if you could, maybe specifically drill down into some of the key elements around the topic around partner source deals versus, vendor-led deals, that would be great, Ken, please. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Kenneth. And yeah, it's a great question, right? There's a lot of things to take into consideration when you're building the program. Ideally, you do want to build that partner trust. And for our company, we were not a channel company initially. We spent the first about 10 years of our history as a direct business and didn't really have a channel program and really needed to develop one. And the ideas behind the deal registration was, how do we incentivize the customers or the partners to bring us these opportunities without them fearing that they were going to, lose the opportunity or that something else was going to happen with it internally with us. And so we built some real strong guardrails when we built the program. And really what we would try to do with the trust aspect is make sure that every single time a partner engaged with us, either they were bringing us an opportunity or we were passing an opportunity to them to fulfill, that we made sure that they were able to register that opportunity. They had the exclusivity on any opportunities that they brought to us. We made sure that there weren't open opportunities in our system. And we really used that deal registration process to protect that partner and protect that relationship with their end user. This really helped us to not only build some of that trust, but then also we were able to see deals sooner than we would if we didn't have a deal registration process in place. So it kind of gave us an opportunity to protect that partner, but also help increase the effectiveness of our pipeline. We know that if we can get a customer into a demo, we have a good chance of winning that opportunity. But in order to find that opportunity, we had to get the customer engaged, and that the partners really helped us to do that in an earlier stage and really afforded us that opportunity. Kenneth, you'd asked specifically about kind of how we've gone about it. We did include some pricing incentives. So anytime a partner brings us a sourced opportunity that we were not already engaged in or somebody else didn't bring forward first, we made sure that we had an incentive in place. We did that through the Channel Mechanics platform. It allowed us to put the different percentages in based on where that opportunity came from. It was exclusive for that partner, so there are no, we could never have two deal regs on the same opportunity, and that really helped us to generate a lot more business up front. And also at the same time when we were gathering that deal registration information, we also were able to capture some of the segmentation information around that deal size, what segment of the marketplace they were working in, and that was really beneficial to the way we went forward with the deal registration process with the help of Channel Mechanics.
Okay, no, that's great. Yeah, Ken, there's a lot to unpack there. So yeah, I think one of the really important things there is building the trust, Ken, and Matt and Riley can chime in as well. But I think that's always the fear when you start out. And as you said, you're a direct led business, and you switched to, or obviously I won't say switched, but you brought channel in on the back of that, say. Yep. And that is, and I'm sure some of the audience are kind of have had the same pain points, but putting in place the deal registration is fundamental to building that trust. So you've got to give the exclusivity period. You've got to honor the exclusivity period, and you've also got to ensure that your internal direct team do absolutely under no circumstances encroach on that line of business. If they do, that trust is really, really hard to repair. So from my perspective, having seen it, done it many times, I would say, that trust and building the partner loyalty is a very powerful machine when done in the right way. And you will get access to end customers of those partners that you would never otherwise get access to. I think, Ken, on your chart, it was really eye-opening for me when I saw the number of countries you're in, the number of customers you have. I'm sure if you broke that down, a lot of those countries you guys have no presence in. You're literally using partners to get presence in those, and equals you would never get at those end customers without a good partner, and that's the value or the beauty of it. So yeah, Riley, anything you would like to chime in with?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, it's pretty clear, like upfront discounts, deal protection, deal exclusivity, you know, all those things are super critical and important to building that partner trust. And one thing I was going to bring up in my section around my question, but I'll kind of bring it up now, is also the process, right? So I can mention running the process on channel mechanics. I'm a firm believer that the deal reg process for your partners, if it's not simple and if they don't trust it, it can actually break the trust and engagement that they have with you. So incentivizing them to come and register deals is one big thing, but another thing is your process simple? You know, is your deal registration form simple? And is that building more and more trust with your partners as well? So that's one thing I would add there.
Yeah, no, it's such a great point, Riley, and I mentioned this probably on every webinar and every conference I do is, you know, keeping it simple. I call the term ease of doing business, right? And it's so core to being successful. If you're easy to work with, it really gives you a much better percentage of winning than, you know, everybody can make it complicated, not everybody can make it easy. And that's really where a platform comes in. You've got a very streamlined process, a simple set of questions. And I would say to the audience, as you design your deal registration questions or forms, you know, you got to really think about the partner, put yourself in the partner's shoes. You don't want to be asking 20 questions. You need to ask a small set of questions, but well thought out questions. You can still get all the information you need to approve a deal if you do it, you know, be smart about those questions. And for those questions, don't have free text at all. Literally have choices, drop downs, multi-selects, etc. Because when you go to mine the data and run reports, it's apples to apples versus trying to compare text is really, really difficult. So yeah, just kind of things we've learned along the way. Matt, anything you would like to add?
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, Riley and Ken made some really interesting points there, and I think, you know, you've got to build the trust early by putting in those guardrails to Ken, you know, language there, but, you know, ensuring that you then follow the you know, your own guidelines, right? I've seen this so many times where it's, you know, the vendor doesn't follow their own guidelines and process, right? So how can you build loyalty if you're breaking your own guidelines? And, you know, you're absolutely right, Kenneth, to your point is, you know, the partners are your gateway to customers that you wouldn't have access to otherwise. So if they don't trust you because there's something broken in that first phase, and let's be honest, deal registration is the first phase, right? It's the most important phase when you're going to your program. You can't be trusted by the partner. So having that platform approach really helps with that, because, you know, direct teams can't influence, and it means that a process, you know, it's very strict and it's very stringent. So you're building that loyalty because you've already got that trust built into an automation way as well. Whereas if you're doing it manually, it's you know, it's like the Wild West.